Hello viewers and welcome to Daily Politics. I'm Hamza Idris. Happy Workers' Day to you and all citizens. Today being the International Workers' Day, spotlighting the plight and improving working conditions of Nigerian workers becomes a no-brainer. Take a look at the procession which took place at the Eagle Square on May Day. Our discussion tonight focuses on Nigeria's medical sector and the issues therein. Over the weekend, resident doctors made a renewed demand, including 200% increase of their current remuneration, halting of the bill by Honorable Ganiu Johnson, mandating medical practitioners to serve for at least 5 years in Nigeria, among others. We have in the studio the National President of National Association of Resident Doctors, Dr. Oji Innocent. He joins us to discuss these and more. Welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you, sir.
We'll take a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Yeah, Doctor, today is Workers' Day, and Nigerian workers look tired, including you. Yeah, on the light note. But on Saturday, you issued a communique, which, among others, you gave ultimatum for 2 weeks for one, consolidated medical salary structure to the tune of 200% of the current gross salary of doctors. Why did you choose this time in the first instance? Because it was actually on the eve somehow of the Workers' Day.
The thing is that we have been on this for quite some time now, and you agree with me that really there is no time that can be said to be the best time for to make demands, genuine demands that government needs to address. You recall that the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, we have been over the years trying to draw the attention of government to the issue of brain drain in the health sector.
Yes.
We have even gone ahead to do a study to find out the number of people that have left. There was a time we put out a statement last quarter of last year trying to say that more than 2,400 doctors left in a space of 2 years. Yeah. And about 100 to 200 leave every month. We believe it has gotten worse, and the same study showed that the most important cause of brain drain in the health sector is poor remuneration that we have. It's not just doctors that are leaving, by the way. Nurses are leaving,
engineers,
clinical staff are leaving, and everybody that is leaving, most of them are saying that it's because of the working condition. And coming to doctors' salary structure, the consolidated medical salary structure.
Yeah.
That was
COMMES, yeah.
Yes, COMMES was started in 2009. It was approved in 2009, even though effectively it started in 2014. And part of the collective bargaining agreement we had with government then was that every 5 years it will be reviewed to be in keeping with the economic realities and all that. But up till now, it has not been reviewed, and we have written to the government. In fact, the last comprehensive letter we wrote on this matter to the Honorable Minister of Health was in July last year, and ever since then we have not been called to the negotiation table to discuss this. We know that government has been saying they are negotiating with the Nigerian Medical Association. But the truth is that NAD is the largest medical workforce. We have always said that such a negotiation should take place with us being there so that we can make our input. In January this year, we raised this issue, and the Honorable Minister of Health promised us that whenever they are going to have the negotiation, that they will officially invite us. But up till now, nothing has been done.
Nothing.
We have not been invited. In fact, we are not even sure that the committee that was set up to do this negotiation met this year at all. And we are already hearing that government is offering 25%. So our members, we are raising issues in the meeting we had last week in Abeokuta.
Yes. It took like 2 or 3 days doing that.
How did they arrive at the 25%? Because we believe that It's not something that you should just throw up a figure. How did you arrive at it? Because we have done our own calculation using the inflation rate, a fuel price in 2009 compared to 2023, the exchange rate, and all those parameters, and we have come up with a figure. So we believe that any increment that is going to be significant enough to address this brain drain we are having has to be based on the current economic realities and not just to throw figures at us. Our members were also not happy with the bill being sponsored by Honorable Ganiyu Johnson, because they feel that, you know what to do to address this issue, and you are going outside the track to come and bring up a bill that will effectively enslave Nigerian doctors. The bill is not well thought out. It was not well.
Has he made effort, Ganiyu, has he made effort to contact you before coming up with that bill? For instance, to say, okay, President, you lead Nigerian doctors. What are your problems? In the event he was not aware, has he contacted you, even by phone call, to say, what is your input on this bill that I want to showcase?
He did not contact the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. He did not contact any email. He did not contact, we are not aware that he contacted anybody. There was total lack of consultation, and that's why he made series of mistakes.
Was he a military personnel? I'm sorry to ask this. Because, the way he now approached it, maybe it was really shocking to you people.
It was, and that's why, you've been following the news. You saw the widespread condemnation everywhere. Everybody is condemning it, except a few individuals in government. Because people know that the problem you are trying to solve, if you look at that bill, you will see that if you pass it into law, you are going to complicate the issue.
Secondly, you think it will not solve the problem in any way?
It will complicate the issue because he doesn't know that, because he is not in the health sector. He doesn't understand. There's most of the people that live, they actually live after they have spent 5 years and all that, because they will need that time to save. And so the people you are targeting are the wrong people. Secondly, you cannot be seeking to pass a law that is an affront on the Nigerian Constitution that guarantees freedom of movement, freedom of choice, and other enabling laws that guarantee mobility of labor. Thirdly, you are saying when you qualify as a doctor, they will withhold your license for 5 years.
Yes.
Within that 5 years, what exactly are you going to be doing? Because what makes you a doctor is that license.
And if the license is not there,
you cannot practice.
Meaning you are practicing in violation of, you can even be arrested.
That's the point. So we see it as just a derailment or, from the right track. We have said over and over again that the most important cause of brain drain is poor remuneration, poor working condition. No single individual has challenged us on this. So which means that everybody is in agreement. So why are you not tackling that squarely? You are going to throw up a bill that will effectively ease level. So we are totally against it, and our members are saying that there is no need calling for public hearing because it will be a total waste of taxpayers' money. Jettison the bill, come for the discussion, and we'll all work together to resolve this issue. Because the thing is affecting us the more. Because you have lesser hands to treat people. You have one doctor doing the work of so many. Of course, there is no way he will be effective.
We're also going to that. In the communique, you said in addition to the new allowances, that there was a letter you wrote to the minister dated 7 July for the review of comments. What are some of the allowances you're talking about, apart from the general increment, that 200% you're talking about?
Well, you see, when you talk about appropriate remuneration, there are so many things that you have to put into consideration. In Nigerian public hospitals, there are a lot of things that we don't have there. So you have doctors. I want to give you an instance.
Yes.
You have doctors buying instruments on their own, because
like
stethoscope,
the temperature,
pulse oximeter, thermometer, a lot of things, and they spoil because you don't have most of these things in the hospitals, and you cannot operate without them. So you are forced to buy it. So some people are calling for that kind of allowance.
Okay.
The nurses are calling for uniform allowance. So you have appropriate remuneration means that there are some allowances based on standard practices elsewhere that you have to introduce. And our letter was clear about all of them. But the issue is that we have not come to the negotiation table. All we are hearing is rumors. We are negotiating.
Are they scared? Do you scold them when you meet them? Maybe when you have the minister, you have all the stakeholders. Do you call them out, or you don't listen to them? That is why maybe they are scared to go to the round table. They keep issuing statements, promises, all that.
We have worked with them in the past to resolve so many issues, and that's why you will also note that at least over the past few years, we've not gone on strike because we decided to do everything possible to prevent that. It is coming at a cost because we have had to take a lot of things. But this one we are talking about is an emergency. If you don't do this, it's only a matter of weeks before the whole health sector will be emptied. You won't have any doctors there again. And then Nigerian citizens will not have clinical personnel to treat them.
Oh my God.
And of course, except you have money to travel abroad on medical tourism. And how many people can afford that?
Very, very few. I want Nigerians to understand the magnitude of your absence in the medical sector. Assuming you go on strike for 3 days, what do you think will happen in terms of human casualty and all that?
Practically speaking, we are the largest medical workforce. If we withdraw our services, there will be a total shutdown because we are the front liners. That is the truth. But what we are saying is that even now we are working, people are dying because we are not enough.
The clock is ticking.
We are not enough. The indices are worsening. So do we rather wait for it to totally collapse, or do we do something urgently to address it? And these things are simple. They can be done within few days. At least come for discussion. Let us know how you arrived at the 25% we are hearing. Because we believe it should be based on data.
Yeah. Where did they get
How did they get it?
Yeah, the statistics.
Yes.
You also requested for payment of 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund.
Yes.
MRTF. Layman, how can he connect with this? What is the meaning of this?
Some people have made some issues about this as if they are treating us differently, in a special way. You know that in this country, when government do sponsor workers for training,
yes,
and they pay you DTA, pay your exam fee, it's essentially the same thing.
Oh.
The only difference is that you now have a large group of people you are doing it for at the same time because you need them. Nigeria needs specialists to take care of Nigerians. So government now introduced that fund to just help in ameliorating the cost. It doesn't take away everything. In fact, we are not, with the data we have, it doesn't even add up to 10% of your total spending to get trained eventually. And then people also say that they are paying you salary every month. Of course, they will have to pay you.
And every other person is receiving salary.
We are working.
Yeah.
We are working while we are being trained. And that's why if we decide to pull out, everywhere collapses.
Yeah, it's catastrophic.
Okay, so that for 2023 has not been paid. A lot of reasons have been given, but the truth is that we have always advocated that they pay this in the first quarter of the year because the update courses and the examinations, some people will have to go for March, April, May. As we are talking, they have gone and paid out of pocket. That is the problem.
The training will not wait. You just have to.
Because it is time bound. You have March, April, May. You have September, October, December. So some people who are meant to go for March, April, May,
they have to pay out of pocket.
Because they have not been paid. So our members are saying, because we are aware that the compilation have been completed.
Yeah.
So that they should just pay. So that people who borrowed money to go for this exam we offset the
I live in peace.
The debt. Yes,
I'm picking some of these issues one after the other because very likely the people that are supposed to read that your communique, they are not aware of it. But maybe when they watch, they will understand the magnitude of the problem at hand. You also mentioned salary arrears for 2014, 2015, and 2016. Is it that they didn't pay you people at all, or what is the meaning of that?
There was a time we called for appropriate placement of doctors. So many hospitals took their time. You also remember that time we are not on integrated personnel payroll, that's IP's platform.
Yes.
So the payment was individualized based on centers.
Okay.
So many hospitals took their time to place their doctors appropriately. So it is the area that has accrued because
over
of that.
time, yeah,
that we
because
are
of the delay
requesting
in uploading the data onto IP.
Yeah, so
platform,
because of the delay in the implementation of that appropriate placement.
Okay.
So the areas of the differentials now accumulated in so many hospitals across the country. By the way, it is not only for resident doctors, even consultants are also affected. Okay, so we are calling for the government to offset these areas of salary. The reason they are giving is that they are in court to challenge that appropriate placement.
It is the government that is in court?
Yes.
Can you, why? Are they not the people who actually introduced the IPPIS?
No, the appropriate placement is not about IPPIS.
Okay.
There's something called skipping.
Okay.
They call it skipping, which is done in the health sector.
All right.
That there is a particular level you will get to. You skip one grade level and go to the next, which they are doing for everybody in the health sector. But what we are saying is that many hospitals in the country took their time to place their doctors appropriately based on that. So by the time they did it, the areas had already accumulated, and they are supposed to pay these areas to the beneficiaries. But because government is saying that they are against that skipping, they went to court to challenge it. So, but we have told them that this issue of court case that keeps coming up, it has been there for over since 2014. We don't understand the kind of court case that will be running for nine years or so, and nobody has been called to make an appearance. So our members feel that it may be a gimmick on the part of government in order not to pay these areas. So they are requesting that government should pay. Yeah,
and then the consequential adjustment of the minimum wage. You also mentioned this.
Yes, I believe everybody is aware of this. It is still a lingering issue. The consequential adjustment was paid, but a lot of people were omitted, not just in the health sector.
Yeah.
So our members are saying, can you pay all these consequential adjustment areas, the differentials, to those who have not been paid? We have been on this again for so many years. If you watch our communique since 2020, these things appear there. So people are saying, when are we going to resolve this? Can we not resolve? Because these are part of the things that are making people to leave. When you owe people their legitimate salary and you don't want to pay them, they will just get angry and they decide to go to a place where their work will be better appreciated.
Where were your members today during the May Day? Were they crying at home? Were they at the hospital still providing services, or they were lamenting?
You know, we are almost always in the hospitals.
They went to the Eagle Square also?
We are almost always in the hospitals working. Because we practically
just like us, the journalists.
We practically work 24 hours. And incidentally, because of the severe shortage we have, even to go for your leave, your entitlement, you may not go because you have so many units in several hospitals, just one doctor, one resident doctor. So if you simply leave for maybe you are going on your annual leave or not, everywhere will shut down.
It appears all of us essential workers, suffer from this disadvantage, because as you can see, we're also in the newsroom since morning.
Yes.
Today, public holiday, others are at home, but here we are.
Yes, but the thing has now been worsened by severe shortage.
Yes, I saw this figure, which is really mind-boggling, that the World Health Organization, the ratio is 1 doctor to 600. But in Nigeria, 4 doctors to 10,000 patients, meaning that each doctor is allocated 2,500 patients. How realistic is this?
I'm not exactly sure where you got that, because
it's there.
The figure I have is worse.
What? I thought you would say I'm lying, doctor.
As that last year, we from the studies done by the Nigerian Medical Association, which was everywhere in the news.
Yes. We
have it as 1 doctor to 10,000 patients in Nigeria.
Not 4,000 to 10,000, because this is World Health Organization actually.
No, the World Health Organization doctor to patient ratio.
Yeah, it's 1
should
to
be
600.
1 doctor to 600.
Yes.
But I'm saying that Nigeria is currently doing 1 doctor to 10,000 patients, far above your own figure.
Meaning you as a person, you are expected to attend to 10,000. Maybe 5,000 will die before you attend to them.
That is the problem. So, and we have also provided solution to this. Try to retain your doctors. We have repeatedly said what to do to return or provide employment. Incidentally, even though we are still shouting that we are not enough, there are still some doctors who are even out of the system waiting to be, employed.
That is what I wanted, because we brought somebody here, Doctor, we brought somebody here discussing this, and he said it's not that the doctors are not there. We have doctors waiting to be recruited. Then why can't they be recruited? Who is actually blocking the recruitment of doctors to attend to patients?
The bureaucracy of employment is too much. You have multi-level approval that you will get before you can recruit any personnel in the federal tertiary hospitals. Now, we have come to realize that for any chief medical director to successfully complete the process of employment.
For instance, at the Federal Medical Center, Johnny,
it takes about 6 months to 8 months because of the multi-level approvals at the.
What are these approvals, honestly? Because
head of service, budget office, Ministry of Health, Federal Character Commission, a lot of them. So we have proposed that can they make effort to shorten the process. In fact, there was a committee that was set up called Brain Drain Committee by the Federal Ministry of Health last year. Part of the things we discussed there is on how to shorten this duration.
The process, yeah.
The process,
yeah.
And they came up with a plan to make it just 3 months. There were so many shortcuts that they introduced. The last time that committee started and concluded the report was in February this year. Up till now, that report is yet to come out, and people are still living.
What I'm saying is it not possible for government to say that we want to finish recruitment of, because of course once you are a graduate, you have cleared one hurdle, right? Then you stay in the hospital, they call it clinicals or whatever, I don't know.
Clinical staff.
Yeah. Now all this, they go with documents. You have this. Is it not possible to say that, okay, people that have finished that staying in hospital, right? They have graduated. Maybe they have gone for their NYSC. We have all this data that, okay, let's bring them together. 1 week to say, okay, representative of head of service, Federal Ministry of Health, your association, and all that to come and say, okay, yeah, look at the papers, then employ.
That is the thing, but you see, the truth is that we are confident that if government wants to shorten that duration, they can do that. Even the 3 months proposed in that committee, I see it as.
Is it the tactical maneuver in military parlance when things are not going well? They don't want to do it. They now create a lot of bureaucracy.
I believe it's the normal government bureaucracy to just ensure checks and balances. But we are sure that this thing can be shortened. And that committee came up with a practical way of making it 3 months, even though from what we suggested, assuming they implemented it, you can employ someone within 1 month and still be able to take measures. Your checks and balances, your due diligence will still be done. It's a matter of determination. And because this is an emergency, because those people who are outside the system and you are not employed, they are the ones living more. And you are complaining that they are living. Meanwhile, you've not given them employment.
Yeah, like Ganiu saying they should be blocked. But now, where do you place this allegation against your colleagues that even if they are employed at the federal tertiary hospitals, right? They give maybe 4 or 5 hours there. The remaining hours, they go to 3 or 4 private hospitals to attend to patients there. Is that true?
Who is supposed to stop that? Is it our association or the government? Because you see, government, if government, we have laws guiding our practice. We have our code of conduct. We have our code of medical ethics. we have rules and regulation guiding any employment in this country.
Okay.
And if anybody is flouting it, be it a doctor or a non-doctor, it is the responsibility of government to enforce it. And we are going to support them. We don't support people not giving in their best when they have been employed. And that's why we are fighting for appropriate remuneration. When you remunerate people well and they choose not to work, you have, you apply the rules, and we are going to support the government on that.
What is the take-home pay of maybe a new recruit? Let me use I cover defense a lot. That is why I keep bringing military terms to medical terms. You know, in the military they will say maybe if you are a second lieutenant, because that is maybe as a qualified, a graduate going into this, and they will say, okay, this is the threshold. You cannot go below that. Compared to what a contemporary of that new entrant get in maybe one of the African countries or any of the countries around the world? Well,
I will have to search that about. In summary,
yes,
Nigeria is the place where you have how do I put it now? Nigeria is the country where you have the least remuneration for doctors, or among the countries where you have the least. Because, come to think of it, in Nigeria, an intern or a house officer who is a fresh graduate doing his on-the-job training,
yes,
is paid less than $200
in Nigeria.
Yes.
And in black market, the dollar is 740.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm deliberately using dollar because if I put it in naira, you think it's too much. But by the time you do the exchange rate,
the global standard,
you see how small it is. It's around $150, between $150 and $200. Meanwhile, some other countries are paying up to $2,000, 1,000. And in any case, we are not even saying that you should pay us what they pay in Europe or America. But we are saying that based on the current economic situation in Nigeria, your GDP, and all that what you are paying is grossly suboptimal. So we are not benchmarking our payment with Europe.
But why can't you do that? Why can't you bargain for
because
that?
If you want to be fair on government, they may not be able to pay like US. And that's why we also get angry when they begin to compare our tuition with what they pay in America or UK. Because we know that you cannot even pay the same salary they are paying. So why are you comparing our tuition with the tuition they pay in America? So what we are saying is that based on our GDP, based on the earnings of Nigeria, based on our status, we are supposed to be paid more. Because we have African countries that are poorer than Nigeria paying better.
They're paying better?
Yes.
Well, we discussed that, Doctor. Thank you very much. We'll take a break. Viewers, don't go away. We'll go on a short break and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back. If you are just joining, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. I still have in the studio Dr. Oji Emeka Innocent, the chairman of Resident Doctors Association. President Resident Doctors Association of Nigeria. How are our doctors valued abroad when they go? Because here you see we don't really revere them. I don't know why, but they keep going out and they keep sending dollars back home.
Well, the thing depends on the country. Some of these countries, most of these countries, they have their premium that they have placed on doctors, and that's why they try to remunerate them well. And you see, again, I have to say, this is not just about salary. Okay, there are deliberate measures government can take, and you understand that this government really cares for you, and then you decide to work for them. Why can't they bring up housing schemes, car loans? And incidentally, these things were done in the past in this country, but they have all
teachers got that.
But they have all been stopped, and you're complaining that people are leaving Why would doctors, senior doctors, work for 20 years? They don't have a house. When they retire, they just retire into penury. These are things that, because, I mean, we are all human beings. As a doctor, you look around you, you see your very senior, colleagues who have retired. You see what has become of them. I begin to project. So if I continue to do this in this country, in the last 10 years, I will just be like these people. They'll simply, get angry and carry their bags and go. So government should think outside the box to provide some of these schemes that will help even keep people here, because anybody you have given a house loan in form of a mortgage cannot even live without clearing the
mortgage.
Debt. Yeah. So this is even,
there are many ways that you can now hold
them back, not to go and bring up a draconian bill that will forcefully keep us here. To be doing what? When you've not even provided enough employment, we are not paying appropriately, the conditions are not good, the infrastructure is dilapidated. These things are contributing. There is violence against healthcare professionals increasing because of the frustration. Nigerian citizens come to the hospital, they spend days without seeing doctors because we are simply not enough again.
And when the doctors come, they descend on them.
And they will descend on you, and not the system that has made that possible. And then the vicious cycle continues. Because I don't know any doctor that you will keep beating up for deciding to even stay to help you that will continue to stay. So we are calling on government to, this is not about people getting angry that why are we going on or threatening to go on strike. We are trying to raise this alarm as appropriately as we can, so that everybody will come together to resolve this before the 2 weeks time that we have given this government to do that.
But doctor, health is not cheap. It's very, very expensive. And for government to now have as many doctors as possible to attend to the population, over 200 million, it needs a lot of resources. And they say the resources is not there. I don't know. But they claim the resources are not there. So how do you think doctors can now make themselves competitive in such a way that government will find it very difficult to let them leave the country?
We are already competitive. That's why the outside world is coming for us. Now, if you talk about resources, again, we are patriots. We are in the country, we know what is going on. The government has not allocated appropriately to the health sector. That's why they don't have the resources. This year's budget has 5.7% allocated to health, which is against what is being done in other countries. In fact, I've repeatedly said this in many of the interviews. We have an Abuja declaration that happened in this country, 2001, where African leaders came together and resolved that member countries should allocate minimum of 15%.
15? Minimum. Of their budget?
Of their budget annually to health. Since 2001 till date, 22 years now, Nigeria has not crossed 10%. I'm not even sure we have reached 10%. So if you don't allocate appropriately to health, how are you going to have the resources to discuss? In fact, remuneration is even a very small amount compared to the level of infrastructural development you need in the health sector. And that is why people, many of them, because they have the resources, they go outside on tourism, because the infrastructure is simply not there. Assuming they have developed the health sector, they won't have any need to be doing that. And that's why we're also advocating. Let them start patronizing these hospitals for them to come to terms with what we are talking about. You recall what happened during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, that even the secretary to the government of the federation admitted, honestly, on national TV, that they didn't know the level of the population. How did they come to that realization? Because they couldn't travel. They were forced to patronize Nigerian hospitals. And they now began to appreciate the things that we've been complaining about all this while.
Yes. Doctor, there is also this allegation that you people are mounting so much pressure on government, but you see your members attending to patients in private hospitals collecting peanuts from owners of those hospitals, compared to, when you put, side by side what you get at the end of the month from government and what you get from private hospitals, even though your members dedicate so many hours to private practice. What do you have to say on this?
Well, this issue is not as simple as you have put it, because you know, we have dedicated our time talking about federal government. I can tell you that even some state governments are paying lower than what is being paid in private hospitals.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
So this issue, and that's why if you look at our communique, we also put it there. We are also calling on the state government to up their game, to pay attention to their health sector. Incidentally, they are also supposed to be responsible for the secondary and the primary levels of care. But what you have is that you go to many of these states, the level of dilapidation will amaze you. It looks as if these governors don't want to pay attention to health. You know, so we are calling on them, because much as we are talking about brain drain, we also have internal brain drain. That you come to a state teaching hospital. In fact, there are some of them that we are reporting that hardly do any doctor stay there more than 6 months. They just come there, stay temporary, and move to a federal teaching hospital. Because the payment in the state is terrible. In fact, even some of them are not paying at all. You have some states owing doctors about 2 years plus.
In Nigeria?
In Abia State, it is there. In Imo State, I think their own is about 10 months. And you have it all over. So, and we are supposed to be essential workers.
Yeah, kings, of course.
You can see, so when you are not paying your so-called essential workers, and when they threaten to go on strike, you say they shouldn't go on strike. What are they going to use to feed their families?
And is it true that in some states they have less than 50 doctors? Some have just 30 doctors. Is it true?
Yes, we have encountered such statistics that in some states, you have less than 50 doctors employed by the state.
That is it, employed by the state. Yeah, because they are tertiary hospitals, and those belong to the federal government. But for the state government.
Yes, and that will also help you to understand what I've been alluding to, that many of these state governments don't pay attention to.
Meaning that if there are 20 local government areas in the state and you have just 20 recruited by the state, meaning just one per local government.
I even wish it is like that, because even that 50 may be concentrated in the city, and that's why many local government in the rural areas don't have. You can go to a local government, you won't have one doctor there. It's happening in
only senior nurses, maybe.
Yes, and that is why we have the very terrible indices that we have.
Mortality rate
and all that.
Because maybe it is a nurse who is attending to maybe somebody with critical diabetic problem or something like that. So you end up having serious casualty.
Yes. So we need to begin to pay attention to this too. The state government should, they will eventually benefit from it, because it is their citizens that are dying. And we are calling on them to step up, invest in health sector. It's an essential sector. And then both them and the federal government, let's also increase the capacity for production of doctors, so that the fact that we don't have enough because we are well trained, the outside world is coming to take us away. You increase the production and then improve the remuneration, to meet up with your demand
and supply. And how tough is it for a parent without support of the government to train a medical doctor in Nigeria?
It's very tough, and that's why when they talked about subsidizing medical education, we laugh, because we know that there's no public institution that you don't have medical students paying much more than every other person. So assuming there is a subsidy, you are not subsidizing for medical students alone. Secondly, I've also said, can they stop this simplistic comparison of bringing the figures in America and Europe, put it side by side with what we pay here? Because you have to tell what that payment is meant for, or maybe you bring what they pay in private schools. Many of those payments are composite in private schools. You pay, they give you your textbook, they give you accommodation, they feed you in some places, they give you internet services. But in public schools, it's just that's your tuition. Once you pay, you now start paying other things.
Yeah.
Departmental fees, you buy your books, you feed yourself. Sometimes you accommodate yourself. You be the one to take care of your accommodation. So nobody has come to the details of telling us, taking all this into consideration to now tell us the level of subsidy that they are talking about that will make them want to enslave Nigerian doctors after graduation.
And why is it difficult for public universities to admit more students for medical programs?
Because of lack of infrastructure. There is a particular number you are supposed to admit, depending on the number of lecturers, the size. There are so many things they put into consideration. And that's why there is no reason why Nigeria has grown beyond having one medical school per state. It cannot work.
We should have more.
You will need to have more. And you can't have more if you don't allocate appropriately to health and education. Because they need that to build the infrastructure, to support the personnel. These are the things we are saying. You can, if you want to improve production, invest in health, invest in education. India did it. And incidentally, when these people leave, eventually they will keep, you know that diaspora remittance is one of the highest source of forex in Nigeria.
Exactly.
So the country is going to benefit from it.
Okay, the last question, Doctor, which you should answer maybe in 1 minute. Is it worth it? Or, let me put it this way, are they better? Let me say Sudan, Benin, Ghana. Are they better in offering medical programs that Nigerians, our parents, are trooping, taking their children? Now they are struggling to bring the children back from Sudan. Is it that Sudan has better medical colleges than Nigeria, that our leaders are taking their children there?
I'm not exactly sure that it is mainly medicine and surgery that people go to Sudan to study.
Of course not.
Good. So I
but
know
many go for, in fact, state government sponsor girls and all that to go to Sudan to study medicine.
Well, we have to look at the indices, and I must confess that we have not studied that to know exactly why people will want to leave Nigeria and go and study medicine in Sudan. I know some of them go to Ukraine, they go to China.
But they also go to Benin, they go to Ghana. We've been reporting honestly here in this.
So we have to study that. But again, that tells you that it's possible that things are getting bad here. Yeah. That will make people want to leave Nigeria and go to Sudan. Okay, your final call on government, how to address your problem, so that because we have 12 days now for you to go on strike. So what is your call? We want to appeal to government to address our demands. Let them meet us at the negotiation table so that we can talk to avert this crisis. What we are fighting for is for everybody, is for the survival of the health sector. Because if we do not address the major cause of brain drain, which is poor remuneration and working condition, people will continue to live, and it will get to a point where there will be total collapse of the health sector. May we not see that today. Thank you very much, Dr. Oji Emeka Innocent, President, Nigeria Association of Resident Doctors, for coming to the program. We appreciate you. Thank you, sir. And we hope your problems will be solved. We also too. Thank you, sir. Viewers, that's a wrap on today's edition. We hope you enjoyed it. Join us tomorrow for another interesting package. Happy Workers' Day. Bye-bye for now. I'm Hamza Idris. Yeah, Doctor, thank you. Thank you, sir. Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you. When are you airing it? So I'd like tonight. Tonight? 8. They will share the link with you. Okay. And we'll repeat it at 11. And we'll repeat it tomorrow at 9 a.m. Okay. Okay, let's share the link. Which